I'm going places, but I don't need to travel far to get there. I enrolled in fall classes at the new SLCC Harriman campus right here in my neighborhood. And I'll save big on tuition. See you this fall. Enroll today at slcc.edu/Harriman.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Hear updates on the national and local Utah real estate markets. We cover residential and commercial properties. Plus, get inspiring ideas to make your house a home from our sponsor, Osmond Designs. Here's Heather Osmond and Jeff Caplan on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to the Real Estate Show. Thank you for listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are, Jeff. And it is always good news at Osmond Designs. We have the most beautiful furniture that is coming in. It's almost like Christmas in August. I don't know. It's beautiful. And I want to take everything home and I can't. So, the next best case scenario is to put it in your home and I can visit it, which is really, really fun.
Wait, you don't have the Christmas decorations out?
No, but every time something new comes out, I get so excited. Like I have the girls send me photos and we all gush and we squeal and it's really, really fun.
I was expecting that you weren't going to say, oh, the next best thing is putting it in your home. I thought you were going to say going and living at the store.
At the store is the third best. Okay. Yes. We have Drew Armstrong. He is the broker and owner of UtahRealEstate.net. And your partner is Matthew Flinders. He's out of town. So we miss you, Matthew, but you guys are incredible. You've been on the show many, many times, and you always know what's going on. So, Drew, give us the lowdown.
That's what we're here for.
Let's start with residential, and then we'll move to commercial.
It's interesting. I was looking at numbers for June in residential, and we have maybe 15% more inventory than we did a year ago. And so that's good because we don't have anything to buy, really. There's not much to choose from. And so things are selling pretty good. Our sales are down maybe 10% versus last year, that's also interesting. So things are slowing a little bit. Prices are up compared to last year, maybe 4 or 5%, not a whole lot. And so it's a little slower than I had anticipated that it would be for an election year, especially. But it's good in a way because it's been a little crazy. And it's nice that there's a little bit more to choose from. But I think the problem is that unless you need to move because of rates being where they are, nobody wants to move because it's, you buy a house that is 30% bigger than what you're in, say, and it'll cost you almost double what your existing payment is. And so people are like, I'm not going to move. But those that do oftentimes are keeping their house and renting it. And so we don't have more inventory because of that. So it's interesting. But if you can rent the house for what the current rents are, then your profit compared to your payment is such that it'll help you weather the storm on the new interest rate on your new house. So that it's an interesting time. We were lucky. Matthew and I had a great year so far. We are kidding with each other about maybe we could just go on vacation for the rest of the year because we had sold more real estate than we did last year by May. It's been great, which is good for me because with my project, I'm pretending to be a general contractor instead.
No, you're not pretending. Like you are full blown building a 30,000 square foot building. So you're killing it. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, people that are wanting to upsize. You mentioned, it's going to cost you double the amount because if you're at a 4% interest rate, and you now have to get an 8% interest rate. Of course,
nobody's getting an 8% interest rate. But
exactly.
The rates as of this past week, and I mean, don't hold me to it because I'm not giving you the whole MSRP thing. But there, you can get a FHA loan right now for about 6.1%,
which is great,
and probably more like 6.5% for a conventional. So, right in there. So, I mean, they're actually down a little bit compared to like end of the year last year. So that's a good thing.
And hopefully they're trending down as well.
Yeah,
the election
they
will
should.
help, like we had mentioned. So if you want to upsize, it costs you more. But if you want to downsize, oftentimes it will cost you more as well. Because again, if you have a 4%, you're jumping to a 6%, a 5%, even with 2-1 buy downs and all of those things. You're basically paying the same for a smaller home.
I had a conversation with a lady just this week where she's like, I don't even want to take care of this much space. They had a 4,000 square foot home. All the kids are out of the house. They're like, we would love to downsize into half of this because we're gone all the time now, and we don't want to take care of the yard, but they can't afford to downsize. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Okay, so where are good places to spend money? I know people are always saying, I really just need to stay where I am. I love my neighbors. I often hear swimming pools are great, garages, detached garages, those outdoor spaces, paint, carpet. We do interior design services, so we're always trying to help people navigate that. What's your opinion?
Well, a swimming pool might work in your neighborhood, but in most, that's probably not a good place in Utah to spend your money. But your kitchen is a great place to spend some money. This time of year, outdoor spaces are huge. If you have a beautiful outdoor patio or deck, people love the idea of recreating and spending some time out there. It was funny. My wife last night was out and I'm like, where's my wife? I can't find her. She's out on the back deck with the cats watching TV on her computer. So, because it was nice with the rain coming a little bit and stuff, the temperature wasn't blazing. It's shady out there. She loved it. So I think that's one place that is really good. If you've got a basement that you can improve, especially with an apartment these days, that is a fantastic place to spend some money. And then obviously your master bedroom. I shouldn't say master. Your main bedroom is a great place to spend. Yes, primary bedroom and bathroom are always, the people who are buying the house get to choose what they like. And if you spend the money improving your home where those that are making the decision about buying the home would enjoy it more, that usually makes sense.
How about putting a tiny home on your property?
It's the same thing as putting a basement apartment in. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you get more return than what you're paying for the tiny home and to install, electricity and all that?
There's no question, but it's just a matter of how much time it takes. Now, it depends on your city too, because each city has different rules in terms of putting a detached tiny home in. I live in Pleasant Grove. We were basically the first place in Utah County where about 7 years ago we passed an ordinance that allows for you to have a detached tiny home. And I helped write that ordinance, and it's kind of because I already had one. So,
then I want to apologize for using the term tiny home. I'm a pedestrian.
Yes,
an ADU,
right? Accessory dwelling unit. Yes, exactly. I had built a garage with a ADU above it, and I rented it, and I figured out how much the rent returned for me on my property. It took me 5 years to pay for the detached 2-car garage and the ADU. That's it, though. It only took me 5 years to pay for it. Everything from then forward was gravy. And I loved it because it was detached. A lot of times people have a hard time with people living in their house. Mm-hmm. Well, they weren't living in my house. They were living in a different building that was separated by about 5 feet. And so it was fantastic. I never even noticed, never even thought about them being there. And I think that ADUs are a fantastic place to spend some money.
And your property value just went up. You have an additional garage space, probably a 2-car garage?
Yes.
That's incredible. What guy doesn't want that?
Well,
what woman doesn't want that?
We had a house. The house that we purchased was a big house, and it had a 2-car garage, and that was a deficiency. And so by correcting the garage deficiency and adding the ADU, it also increased our property value because people would have looked at that house and said, geez, it's a 2-car garage for a house that big? That doesn't make sense. We sold it after 20 years. Now we live in a townhouse because we don't have kids at home.
I
right?
think that's amazing. And you're traveling. Tell us about your latest adventure, Drew.
Well, my latest adventure was a while ago. It was all the way back in January, and we went to India. But we have another one online we're going to Peru in September. I can't wait.
I always love to hear about Drew's adventures. He also is this professional photographer. So, you get this bonus of Drew and his real estate expertise. What is it, 30 years?
Yeah, 30
would you
years
say?
now.
You and Matthew, that's incredible.
I've seen some of your stuff when you've been in here, and it's really beguiling. Beautiful, beautiful photography.
So beautiful. So you take pictures internationally and then, of course, all across the country, but then you also get to use that expertise in selling your own home. And I believe that it is more important than ever to have beautiful pictures of your home because most people are deciding what homes they even want to see based off of just sitting at the kitchen table and scrolling.
I think you're right.
You're killing it. So proud of you. I've been able to stage a lot of your homes, which have been incredible and which increases property values. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next segment. Today we have Drew Armstrong, UtahRealestate.net, one of the best real estate agents in the state of Utah. Not only do you help buy and sell real estate, but you're also an investor. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. I'm Heather Osmond, owner of Osmond Designs Furniture and Interior Design Stores. We'll be right back.
I'm going places, but I don't need to travel far to get there. I enrolled in fall classes at the new SLCC Harriman campus right here in my neighborhood. It's brand new with 91,000 square feet of amenities like a STEM learning center and career services. There's so much I can study, from economics to psychology to information systems, and I'll save big on tuition with SLCC's low cost. See you this fall at SLCC in Harriman. Enroll today at slcc.edu/Harriman.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Did you know you can get the 3 things you need to know delivered right to you? Just go to KSLNewsRadio.com, click on menu, and then newsletter.
Or go to the KSL News Radio app and you click on menu, and then it's email alerts.
This is even easier. Just text the word inbox to 57500.
Get the top national and local stories with the 3 things you need to know newsletter.
We're back with the KSL Real Estate Show, sponsored by Osmond Designs on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. We're glad you're listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. Okay, today we have Drew Armstrong. He is an owner and broker at UtahRealestate.net. If you've been a regular listener of the show, you've heard of Drew before and his partner, Matthew Flinders. We miss you, Matthew. You're out of town today, but you do have Drew here making all the money so you can go party. So good on you, Matthew.
That's why we have a partnership, is so that we can travel and go away and leave the store in good hands.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you sell real estate.
Yes.
You list homes, and then you also help buyers find homes, which is incredible.
Yes.
And part of that is you do these market analysis. They're free.
Yeah.
You go into people's homes and you say, this is how much your home is worth. You show all of the charts and graphs. You guys are super techie, which is incredible. And your experience will help people earn so much more than just finding a random real estate agent.
Yeah, we absolutely do that. And we do that, having a general contractor's license as well makes it so that oftentimes I'm able to go in and tell them not only who great subcontractors are that they can do some paint improvements or, fix up or put a new roof on or whatever they need that way. and I've got good recommendations that way. But I can also tell them about how much it will cost and how much it will increase their value. And so a lot of times people bring us in way early. And a lot of times, I mean, you're one of those subcontractor kind of folks to us. We have so many times we've walked in and you look at what's a beautiful house and just even the way the furniture is set up, you're like, this could use some help. And a lot of times they're like, yeah, we know it could. What can we do?
Please help us.
Yes, and we have you or one of the gals that works for you come in and sit down with these folks, and a lot of times they buy a couple of new pieces, but most of the time they're using mostly what they already have on site, and they change the way the furniture is arranged and the way the paintings or decor is presented. And it makes such a huge difference. The most common thing that we hear is, oh, we don't want to sell our house anymore. And they're kidding. But they're like, why didn't we do this a long time ago? And what's really interesting is we moved into a new house a couple of years ago. And my wife had one of your designers come in and help her. And she's like, I like my house so much better. You know, it makes such a difference. And it's a skill set that I just am so surprised that, you know, it's like, oh, I am shocked and surprised at how much I don't know, because I think I know how to set something up and I don't. And I've seen a million houses and I don't know how you get training to be a good interior decorator or a good designer that way. And it's one of those things, I mean, I can tell when it's not right, but I don't know what you know in terms of how to set it up to where it gets it right.
I think a lot of it is just experience, right? Just being in as many homes as I am and my dream team of interior designers. We are all across the state of Utah, and we have seen so many things that are done correctly and so many things that are done incorrectly. And it's knowing all the rules, but then knowing when to break the rules too, and really make it personal to you and somewhere that you love to be. Because at the end of the day, we go home.
Yeah.
But scale is one of the biggest mistakes that people make in staging.
Sure. What do you mean?
So either their furniture's too big for the space or it's too small. So people will often take their furniture from a previous home and they move it into their new home and it just doesn't fit. So there are some things that we can do to remedy and fix those areas, and just combining color, right? Making sure that everything is cohesive, that we are making it feel cozy and comfortable. And oftentimes it's just making sure the art is on the right walls, making sure the large art is on the large walls and the small art is on the small walls. It seems very, very obvious, but I will tell you 90% of the homes in Utah are not done correctly and just need a little TLC. So we do offer those interior design services at $75 for a 1-hour consultation. It's super inexpensive. We come to you, we help you arrange what you currently have, maybe make some suggestions and recommendations if in the future you want to, you know, make some alterations or add some additional things to make your home better.
You know, I'm going through the art on my walls while you're talking, and Drew, when you're here, I check Zillow to see what my house is worth every time.
Good.
That's funny because most people don't care what their house is worth unless they're thinking about selling it or they can't make their payment. Those are the only two times that anybody pays attention after they purchase the house. So that's fun.
And Jeff, you'll go home tonight and say, why is that big piece of art on that small wall and the small art? Heather, come over and fix this for me.
I'm going to be looking.
I got you, Jeff.
No doubt.
I think you're right about furniture scale too. I see houses where the furniture is so big they have to push it right up against the walls and there's no room to walk behind things, and that it absolutely does make a difference. With the new building that we're building right now, we have 4 apartments out of 19 that are 450 square feet. They're teeny little things, and it's kind of an experiment for us to see how that works. But you know, you walk into IKEA and you can see how to set things up that are tiny. Nobody else does that around here, but it's like, oh, well, this actually could work. Mm-hmm. And but you know, obviously we're not doing that with all of them, but scale makes such a huge difference.
And the difference really is in the details. So just making sure that it's appropriate, especially if you're trying to sell your home. This is a great tip that you need because they are looking at multiple homes.
Yeah.
And there is a reason why builders spend so much money on a beautifully furnished model home, because it really is an emotional purchase. More than any of us ever realize, having it light, having it smell good, all those things are more important than ever. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If your business needs a new application, then developers will have to write code, a lot of code. If an application needs to be modernized, then you'll need time, resources, and caffeine. If that sounds daunting, then you need Watson X Code Assistant, AI designed to multiply developer productivity so you can generate code quickly. Let's create a more modern foundation for business with Watson X Code Assistant. Learn more at ibm.com/code assistant. IBM. Let's create.
I'm going places, but I don't need to travel far to get there. I enrolled in fall classes at the new SLCC Harriman campus right here in my neighborhood. It's brand new with 91,000 square feet of amenities like a STEM learning center and career services. There's so much I can study, from economics to psychology to information systems, and I'll save big on tuition with SLCC's low cost. See you this fall at SLCC in Harriman. Enroll today at slcc.edu/Harriman.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in-wash scent beads.
Did you know you can get the 3 things you need to know delivered right to you? Just go to KSLNewsRadio.com, click on menu, and then newsletter.
Or go to the KSL News Radio app and you click on menu, and then it's email alerts.
This is even easier. Just text the word inbox to 57500.
Get the top national and local stories with the 3 things you need to know newsletter.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. In October of 1985, a woman named Cherie Warren left work at a busy Salt Lake City office
to meet her estranged husband at a downtown auto dealership.
She never made it home. Cherie's car surfaced weeks later in Las Vegas,
in the parking lot of a hotel casino.
No one knows how it got there.
Strange. It was strange.
Both Cherie's estranged husband and her boyfriend raised suspicion for investigators.
I kind of thought that he might have done something.
But no arrests were ever made. In Cold Season 3, we dig into double lives, make new connections in the case, and examine the difficulty raised by reasonable doubt.
We want answers just as much as anyone else.
They have creeps like that now too, so nothing's changed.
That's the new Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, now available anywhere you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Hear updates on the national and local Utah real estate markets. We cover residential and commercial properties. Plus, get inspiring ideas to make your house a home from our sponsor, Osmond Designs. Here's Heather Osmond and Jeff Caplan on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to the Real Estate Show. We're glad you're listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And we love selling furniture at Osmond Designs, but we love doing interior design as well and making your home beautiful and somewhere that you love to be. Today, I'm always so excited to have Drew Armstrong. He is one of the best real estate agents in the state of Utah. He is the owner and broker of UtahRealestate.net. Welcome back, Drew. How are you?
I'm doing so great, and thank you for the welcome as far as that goes. And you know, I have to say, now, I think the Parade of Home season has kind of wrapped up a little bit for the most part. Isn't there? There's one more coming, like St. George or something.
So St. George is over. Utah Valley's over. Now we're gearing up for Salt Lake. And then we have Park City, Northern Wasatch. So it just keeps going, Drew.
Just
it's
where
crazy.
I am is done. How did you guys do? How did you fare? I mean, because you do so many homes down in Utah County for the parade there. How did Osmond Designs towards wrap up?
Oh, Drew, we have so much fun. We probably have too much fun doing the Parade of Homes. We're a title sponsor and huge supporter of what's going on, but we won our category.
Perfect.
So we won an award there. We won Best of State this year in the furniture, home decor, and interior design categories.
Oh, wow.
And then we also won Utah
Not
Valley.
surprised.
You're very nice. Utah Valley also does a contest and people get to vote, and we won all of those as well. So we're having a great year, and we're really proud about what we do. We love helping people love their homes. And, it's more important than ever for our neighbors and our friends here in Utah to feel comfortable. Life is stressful for all of us, and we need somewhere where we can relax and feel safe and enjoy our neighbors and our neighborhoods and become closer as a community. And that's something I've really enjoyed. Drew, you and I have known each other for 30 years, 25 years. I don't know, most of our adult life, real estate life.
Really?
I was a real estate agent, and we were in the same brokerage, office, yes. And you were selling and I was selling. And at the time, neither of us probably owned anything. We were both just starting. I was recently married. We bought our first house. I remember you purchased your first duplex. So we were selling real estate, but we were also investing.
Yes.
You continue to invest. I continue to invest. Both of us can say we've made more money in our investments than we probably have made in selling real estate, or even in my case, selling furnishings. Tell me a little bit about your investments that you've been doing and why other people should be investing in real estate right now.
Well, we've kind of changed what we wanted to be in. For years and years, and I still own several. And it's funny because I'm going to sell a duplex that I've had that is down below BYU, and I've had this thing for 22 years. I bought it in 2002. And for the first time ever, because I'm a buy and hold forever guy for the most part. And but I started with the duplex. That was the very first one I bought. And finally going to sell it because I've got some different focuses where I'm at a point in my life where I want to get to where it's less hands-on management. I don't want to deal with the trees in the yard and all that kind of thing. So that's part of what we are shifting our focus a little bit with that. But that first one, I have to tell you, the interest rate was 7.5%. 7.5% on that. It's about where it would be today if you went to go buy an investment property. And I bought it for $147,000 in 2002. And it cost me about $250 a month after I collected all the rents and paid them to the bank for my mortgage. And so I was upside down. And, upside down means today that would be more like a $500 a month in the hole payment that I'd have to pay for the privilege of owning that thing. And I still did it. And it's best decision that I've ever made in terms of getting me started in investing. Now, I always tell people it's okay to go upside down, but you better be able to afford it, right? So, and I could at the time, but I knew what I was in for. It took me about 3 years. I was able to refinance that one to 5.5%. And I was able to raise the rents a little bit. And all of a sudden I was making $200 a month instead of losing or putting into it $200 a month. But it's one thing that I always have to remind people is you have depreciation, and that helps you with your taxes. So if you're paying a lot of taxes, you can pay less because you get to count the depreciation. You get to write off the interest. So there's that. But the other thing is that, and people forget this all the time, is that like if I've got one property that I bought recently, and with the mortgage on it, my payment is, because it's higher, my payment's about $3,200 a month, but $2,000, even with the higher interest rate, $2,000 a month of that payment is basically going into a long-term savings account for me, because it will pay itself off. 30 years seems like such a long time until you get to where you're our age. And then it's like, well, 30 years isn't that long. So it's
true. Speak for yourself, Drew. No, just kidding.
Totally
We're
true.
so old. Yeah, it's awesome.
But it makes such a difference to go ahead and you get. I mean, it's a pain in the butt. You know, you get a tenant that calls you and it's like they waited till the weekend to tell you that there's some problem, because that's when they have time to deal with it. And you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to come down and deal with this on the weekend. It's a pain in the butt. But when I look at the amount of money that it's returned and realize that almost every year I've made as much money, probably from 2007 on, I've probably made as much money in real estate investing as I have with my job. Then at that point, you start to realize, well, you know what, if I have to go down and deal with this, and even if I took 2 or 3 straight weeks out of my year and said that was my real estate investing job, which I haven't, but if I did, it's still well worth it compared to the amount of time that I spend on my normal job. So we've enjoyed it. At this point, we are about halfway through building our first mixed-use building in Pleasant Grove, and we've got 2 more to come after this that are stacked up. So the idea for me is that I want to get to something that's newer, not unreinforced masonry. After the earthquakes a couple of years ago, I got a little nervous. And so I want to slowly get out of those and get into something that's a little newer and a little easier for me to manage and be a little hands off. It will probably return a little less than the other ones will because of the interest rates, of course, and some, other things. I haven't owned it so long, but it's worth it at this point, and we're enjoying the process. So.
I think that's amazing. And it's a mixed use, commercial on the main, multifamily on top.
We're looking for a restaurant for downstairs.
Do
That's what
it.
we need.
Please do. I think all of downtown Pleasant Grove needs restaurants. Every main street in America should just be stacked up restaurants. And then it's just a walking community. A lot of them are just dying. They're decrepit and they just need updating so much.
But there's so many great
so much
streets.
Charm, right?
I mean, if you look at Brigham City's downtown's beautiful. Park City, of course. But you look, Heber's not bad, although it has too much traffic running right through the middle of the downtown. But you look at Provo, 25th Street in Ogden. Even down to Helper. There are some really cute little downtowns. It's almost a downtown renaissance that we're seeing. And the downtown here in Salt Lake is beautiful at this point. And people come down on the weekends. You walk down and you can, my wife and I come up, or we go to 25th Street. We have kids that live in Ogden or go down to Provo. We don't even choose the restaurant until we're walking down the sidewalk, right? And that's so fun to go and just walk down and have a bunch of different choices. And I think Pleasant Grove, as small as our little downtown is, and they've done it pretty right. It doesn't have high traffic. It's designed to slow the traffic down. And there's going to be a lot of redevelopment in our downtown. We're kind of kicking it off, but you can walk to 10 restaurants from our building. So
and Salt Lake City's going through it. Look at all the cranes and all the projects that are to come.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible. If you are interested in being a real estate investor, talk to your local city. There are investment opportunities close by where you live.
There are.
And taking advantage of what the city's needs are. You are what, planning commission?
I was on
City
the planning
council?
commission, not city council. I was on the planning commission in Pleasant Grove for 4 years, chaired it for a year. And then I went and I did a couple of years on the county planning commission. And now I'm on the design review board. And so I do contribute time and I have gotten involved with the city over the last 10 or 12 years, and I enjoy it. It makes me feel like I'm giving back. So, and I've learned a lot. I've learned so much.
And they're lucky to have you because you know what you're talking about. You walk the walk and talk the talk. So thank you, Drew Armstrong, UtahRealEstate.net. How do people find you?
The internet works great, UtahRealEstate.net, but they can call me. My number is 801-636-DREW, 3739. So
give it again, one more time.
Say 801-636-3739. Spells Drew. So
that's awesome. Now's a good time to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Central Bank. They're trusted bankers and loyal friends, not only of this KSL Real Estate Show, but also of the Parade of Homes. I have the opportunity to work with them closely in sponsoring and giving back to this community. And I'm a little biased because they are my personal bank. Osmond Designs is what it is today because of Central Bank and the loans that they have given to my business and personally car loans and, anything and everything. Construction loans.
They're the best with construction loans.
The best, hands down. They also really support youth programs, which I love. Your kids can actually take their grades into Central Bank and they give them incentives for getting A's, which I think is really cool to their savings program. So thank you, Central Bank. They've been in business for 130 years. They're safe and secure. So thank you so much. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
If your business needs a new application, then developers will have to write code, a lot of code. If an application needs to be modernized, then you'll need time, resources, and caffeine. If that sounds daunting, then you need Watson X Code Assistant, AI designed to multiply developer productivity so you can generate code quickly. Let's create a more modern foundation for business with Watson X Code Assistant. Learn more at ibm.com/code assistant. IBM. Let's create.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers who chonk harder than you ever thought possible.
Cats, corgis, babies, baby penguins, baby pandas, chunky baby pandas.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things. Free to open a world of remote work and a portal into Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine, and then some. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service in select locations only.
I'm Jenny Taylor.
And I'm Michelle Scharf. We are excited to invite you to listen to our podcast, Relentlessly Resilient, presented by Minky Couture. Each week, a guest shares their own powerful stories of enduring challenges and the tools of resiliency they have learned along the way. Sometimes it's the small steps of finding their support system, knowing that they're loved, and being kind to themselves.
And what I love is that we can see everybody has a story, something they've been through, lessons they've learned, something to share and add to this conversation. We all come away uplifted and enlightened and really educated on certain steps we can take and tools we can develop ourselves so that we can also move forward and live our best lives.
Find us on KSLpodcast.com, the KSL News Radio app, or your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, whatever you do today, remember to be kind. You have no idea the struggles other people are dealing with in their lives.
We're back with the KSL Real Estate Show, sponsored by Osmond Designs on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. Thank you for listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And, we're talking about real estate and investing in real estate on this episode. And I have to say, I invest in real estate. My Osmond Design stores, specifically my location in Orem, when I originally purchased that, it was an old stock building, and we actually purchased it at an auction. So it was this huge lumber store. It sat on 7 acres. We carved off 5 acres because we didn't need all of the space. We sold that off for almost the same amount as we kept the building with the 2 acres. There are so many creative ways. Our Lehigh location was an old, I think it actually was the first ZCMI in all of Utah. So, back in the day, it was a department store and it was old. I think it had been vacant for 2 years.
Wow.
It was a lot larger than we needed. So we took the main floor and we used that as our furniture store. It had a great warehousing area in the back, which was very helpful for receiving all of the semi trucks and everything else. And we rented the upstairs to a dance studio, and which was very obnoxious because the floors were bouncing, of course, right? And then the right side was a karate studio, which was an existing tenant, and that helped pay our mortgage. My very first home that we ever purchased and moved into had an unfinished basement. It was a very, very small home that was built in the 50s. It was a 2-story. We renovated the basement apartment, lived there. It actually didn't exist. We put it in
the basement apartment. Heather lived in the basement and rented the upstairs
for our entire mortgage. I think we paid utilities only, and it had teeny tiny windows that if there was a fire, we never probably would have been able to get out of there. But there are so many creative ways. Today we have Drew Armstrong. He's the owner and broker of UtahRealEstate.net on the show with us today. Drew, we just laugh at some of our old stories. You have a duplex. You're currently in the middle of a huge downtown Pleasant Grove commercial project with over 30,000 square feet. It's commercial on the main, high density residential on top. I own shopping centers in Saratoga Springs and American Fork and all over the state of Utah. And we're a little biased.
Yeah.
Investing in real estate is incredible. If you need expertise, call Drew, call Matthew, your partner.
Yeah.
You guys know what you're doing.
Yeah, I've got a lot of duplexes and we've got some commercial and we've got some townhomes and we've got some lots of different fingers in different pies and different projects, and we have done well with that, and we're just trying to follow your example.
No.
Really. That's really what it is.
No.
But commercial is interesting. Commercial is right now in Utah. The commercial markets are slowing a little bit. If you're thinking that you need a new office space, you'll never get one built. There's plenty to lease, but the banks aren't even lending unless you put 40 or 50% down, because that's the tough spot. COVID has really changed the way people want to work. It's changed the technology that allows people to work from home. And call centers are almost non-existent anymore. So we've got all these vacant call centers because people are calling or answering calls for companies. Those people still exist, but they're doing it from their homes instead. And the software has changed to allow that to happen that way. So they just get on their computer, put a headset on, and handle it from their house. And we were forced into this, but it has made some massive differences. And while Utah we're doing better than most of the country, but some of these big, we have about a 20% vacancy rate in office in Salt Lake County, a little less than that in Utah County. But we're seeing it does affect everything else a little bit too. We're all the way up to maybe 5 or 6% in industrial vacancies from about 2%. And honestly, I was talking to a friend of mine who is a big commercial broker, and I was like, isn't that a good thing though? Because we were so tight on industrial space before, people couldn't even start businesses because of it. And so that's still doing well in it, even though we have a little bit more vacancy. Retail is doing well, but nothing's really getting built. There's not a lot of new that is coming into the market. And so that is, I would guess that's going to get tighter as time goes on.
I think so too. And I think that the drive-throughs are always a hot commodity.
Yes.
So if you are interested in being an investor, definitely check out Drew Armstrong, UtahRealEstate.net. Thank you so much for joining us today. Heather Osmond, Osmond Design, signing off for this week. See you next week.
If your business needs a new application, then developers will have to write code, a lot of code. If an application needs to be modernized, then you'll need time, resources, and caffeine. If that sounds daunting, then you need Watson X Code Assistant, AI designed to multiply developer productivity so you can generate code quickly. Let's create a more modern foundation for business with Watson X Code Assistant. Learn more at ibm.com/code assistant. IBM. Let's create.